Today we are going to discuss about supported admission beyond 30 days. That is Section 90 of Mental Health Care Act of 2017. I am Dr. Suresh Badadmat, Professor of Psychiatry, working at NIMANS, Bangalore. Before I start my presentation, I would like to place this disclaimer. This presentation is for academic and training purpose only. This is not an alternate or a substitute for professional legal opinion. For professional legal opinion, please do contact an advocate. Conflict of interest? None. In this video, I am going to discuss about Section 90, that is admission beyond 30 days under Mental Health Care Act of 2017. This video is targeted to doctors, psychiatrists, mental health professionals such as psychiatric nursing, clinical psychologists, and psychiatric social workers. Further, this video is also helpful for person with mental illness and their family members, state mental authority, central mental authority members, mental health review board members, and also police and advocates. Let's discuss about Section 90 of Mental Health Care Act of 2017. Mental Health Care Act of 2017 received President Assent on 7th of April 2017. This is the admission which occurs under Mental Health Care Act of 2017. One is voluntary, that is independent admission. Second one is involuntary, also called as supported admission. In this video, I am going to discuss about supported admission. Let's discuss about supported admission beyond 30 days under Section 90 of Mental Health Care Act of 2017. This is the supported admission, that is involuntary admission. Again, there are two types of involuntary admission. One is under Section 89, that is up to 30 days. Under Section 90, beyond 30 days. So in this video, I am going to discuss about Section 90, that is beyond 30 days. First and the foremost, if the patient who is admitted under Section 89, that is up to 30 days, does not improve within 30 days and he continues to have loss of capacity, in such a scenario, the patient will be shifted from 89 to 90. Or else, if the patient has been discharged under Section 89, but he needs to be readmitted within 7 days, in such a scenario, Section 90 will be used. Here, before using Section 90, the nominated representative or the family members should fill Form F and submit to the person who is in charge of the mental health establishment. In such a scenario, once they receive Form F from the NR, the two psychiatrists will independently examine the patient and opine, yes, this person needs to be admitted under Section 90. This examination should be within past 7 days. Then only Section 90 can be shifted. This is how the admission under Section 90 occurs. That is, once he has admitted under 89, does not improve, or else he is discharged under 89 and he has to be readmitted within 7 days. In such a scenario, the NR will fill the Form F and will be giving it to the medical officer in charge of the mental health establishment. That person who is the mental health establishment in charge will submit the patient to a two psychiatrist for independent examination, and both the psychiatrists should say, yes, he will benefit and he needs to be kept under Section 90. Mental Health Review Board will be informed within 72 hours for women and child admission, and for male adult within 7 days, Mental Health Review Board should be informed. This is Form F which NR has to fill and submit to the person who is in charge of mental health establishment. Here we are going to discuss how the process takes place. Very clearly, under Section 90, it has been clearly said that two psychiatrists within past 7 days, before 30 days is expired, needs to be examining the person with mental illness and opine independently, telling that this person has severe illness and will definitely benefit by continuing admission. Here, the 3 more criteria has been placed. That criteria are: the person with mental illness consistently over time threatened or attempt to cause bodily harm to himself or herself. That means dangerous to self. That is, consistently dangerous to self is very essential. And the second criteria is he has consistently over time behaved violently towards another person, or else consistently over time has caused another person to fear bodily harm from him or her. That means consistently dangerous to others. Further, consistently over time shown inability to care for himself to a degree that places that individual at a risk to harm himself. That is, consistently has shown that he is unable to take care of himself. So these are the three criteria. If one of them is met, the person can be continued to keep under Section 90 of Mental Health Care Act of 2017. And the other important criteria are the person should have not regained the capacity. That means loss of capacity should be consistent. And the report to the Mental Health Review Board has to be done within 7 days. But please do remember, capacity assessment, once the person has been shifted to 90, every 15 days once, capacity assessment has to be done. And Mental Health Review Board, once he is admitted under Section 90, the Mental Health Review Board has to review the admission within 21 days. Either they can come and meet the person or else they have to review the medical records. Psychiatrist in charge of the treatment of such person with mental illness submit a plan regarding the community treatment once he is discharged under Section 90. This criteria has been placed thinking that Section 90 will not be used endlessly. That means when you are shifting to Section 90, you have to plan for community treatment once Section 90 has been completed. That means here the legislation is very clear. You cannot go on keeping under Section 90 endlessly. Community plan should be prepared and be ready. This section cannot be used merely on the ground that there is no community treatment available or else there are no family members available. That means liberty has been placed on the high pedestal under Mental Health Care Act of 2017. In a scenario where if the patient admitted under Section 90 does not even improve after 90 days, in such a scenario, in the first instance, from 90 days, the extension will be given up to 120 days. Even after 120 days, he does not improve at all. Then the subsequent revision will be for 180 days. That is the way the legislation has been clearly mentioned. I'll repeat. The first, he has been admitted within 30 days, that is Section 89. He does not improve. He will be shifted to 90 days. That is under Section 90. And in spite under Section 90, if the person does not improve, in such a scenario, in the first instance, there will be extension given up to 120 days. And if it does not improve even after 120 days, then the extension occurs for 180 days in subsequent revisions. That is how the legislation has been clearly drafted. Further, treatment will occur as per advance directives or else capacity assessment to be done every 15 days and the patient requires 100% support. In such a scenario, NR is going to make a decision for persons with mental illness. Further, if capacity to consent is regained by the patient, then the patient will decide how he will be treated, whether he will be kept in the hospital or not. And discharge will be done if the patient regains capacity and says, I don't want to stay in the hospital. You have to respect his wish. The liberty is very important here. And MHRB can review any admission under 89 or 90. Discharge planning is a very essential step in Mental Health Care Act of 2017 so that the continuity of care is maintained. Let's discuss Section 98. This discharge planning under Section 98 applies for every admission to a mental health establishment, irrespective of it is voluntary or independent or else involuntary supported admission. All admissions, the discharge planning is done under Section 98. Here, whenever a person admitted under a section of Mental Health Care Act of 2017 needs to be discharged, the psychiatrist should follow certain steps. He needs to discuss with person with mental illness once he regains capacity, or he will discuss with nominated representatives or a family member or a caregiver regarding the continuity of care, the medications to be given, the rehabilitation planning. All these needs to be discussed before the discharge occurs. And psychiatrist has to ensure that a plan has been developed, documented, how to be treated in a community setting and follow up to be planned properly. To conclude, my dear friends, all supported admission needs to occur as per the Mental Health Care Act of 2017. In all supported admission, capacity assessment is must. Discharge planning is also needs to be done under Section 98. Section 98 applies to every admission under mental health establishment. And before you discharge, please make a plan how the person will be cared in the community once he is discharged. Thank you very much for giving your valuable time. Stay safe.